Electricast. This episode is brought to you by Lifetime. Parenting vlogger Ruby Franke was a model mother to her following of over 2.5 million people until she began to follow the guidance of family counselor Jody Hildebrandt. Based on a true story, watch as the influencer becomes the influenced by a master manipulator. Mormon Mom Gone Wrong. The Ruby Franke story. Premiering Saturday at 8. Part of Truly Unbelievable Movies. A ripped from the headlines event. Only on Lifetime.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Missing the Point, and we're power ranking the teams again. In fact, we already have. We know the list. We know the top 10, but there's so much to get through before we get there. My name's Dave. His name's Bob. His name's Mike. We go by the fancy names when we turn into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and start doing the power rankings. I'm DK Sizzle. It's the real BK Bob Kelly. And Money, Mike Marcangelo, which I forgot that we called you that until I was tuning into your MTP Boston all the time, and Ray really seems to be into it. So, yeah. Money Mike.
Yeah, he's trying to get that over. Like, it's just him.
He's trying to make fetch happen. And I'm here for it. I'm here to participate. Ladies and gentlemen, what we always do here on this show is we talk about the biggest news of the NFL week before we go into specific teams, the cross-offs, the honorable mentions, and then finally the power rankings. But I think when I was doing my notes before the show, every other week we've had like a big trade or, some crazy stuff has happened. We talked about Amari and Devontae getting traded last week, but this week, I think the biggest piece of news was probably Deshaun Watson's Achilles exploding. Was it his Achilles for sure?
That thing popped.
I call that the old
That's
Kevin
the
Durant
injury.
It didn't look quite as bad as he was. He's more layered up, but yeah, you could see it. It was the Kevin Durant injury for sure. I'd just like to say the discourse around that got pretty preachy and holier than thou when the Browns fans booed him off. I despise when injured players when people celebrate injuries, when people are happy somebody gets injured, when crowds boo or cheer players when they're going off the field injured. I think I'm going to make an exception here, to be totally honest with you, because I don't think the Browns fans were cheering that he got injured or booing. Like, he's been the worst quarterback in football for the last 6 weeks. He has stolen money from an already poverty-level franchise. And the man has a number of extremely credible sexual assault allegations to his name. I'm not white knighting for this guy. I'm not riding for this dude. I'm sorry that your ankle hurts. Enjoy your guaranteed $800 billion. And rest up. That's the best thing that could have happened to Deshaun. And you had to listen to a little bit of booing. I don't feel that bad, to be honest with you. Am I a piece of shit? I don't know. You guys tell me.
No.
We literally talked about this last week. Like, this exact scenario we played
I know.
out
It's the first thing I thought. It was the first thing I thought. But I thought he was going to fake an injury, which is what I would have done if I was him. But in reality, that looked like a very real injury.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong, dude. I mean, only thing I would say, I do admire consistency in approaches. Don't cheer the guy, knowing that you had those 24 very credible sexual assault allegations, and then like when you started, like when he started for the Browns for the first game, they're like, "Oh, he's going to save the franchise," and now people are trying to get hurt. It's like, that might go down as the worst trade, the worst trade in the history of football. I mean, I think it is.
I'm still pushing for the Panthers. Trading us everything for Bryce Young, essentially. I mean, that's tough. I mean, you should look at the list.
You still get another second. You still get another second round pick too.
Yeah, and their second round picks looking mighty juicy. The more they get fucking stomped all over. So, wow, Andy Dalton wasn't your savior. Wow, I'm shocked. I'm appalled. I really thought Andy Dalton was going to come in and save your season. How could we possibly have predicted anything else? Whatever, fuck that team too. Yeah, I mean, look, I feel bad for the Browns. I feel bad for Cleveland fans. But at the same time, like, yeah, don't cheer him. Don't cheer the guy with credible sexual assault allegations. That's not why they were booing him. I mean, if he went in there and started dropping tutties all over the field like he did when he was in his prime in Texas, nobody would have given a shit about those sexual assault allegations. Everybody would have been mum's the fucking word about that. No problem. I mean, what's the kid's name, the wide receiver, Rice on Kansas City? He's going to have to face the music now just because his knee exploded. He started off great, so all those allegations just went to the fucking way of the dodo. Kareem Hunt, enjoying a wonderful resurgence in Kansas City again. They really hire men of character over there. Harrison Butker, great guy. Fucking that Kermit the Frog motherfucker they have throwing the ball for them, who happens to be the best football player ever. That's annoying. I if you play well, nobody talks about this stuff, whether for better or for worse. I'm not making a moral judgment of it. I'm just saying that's just the truth, right? So when you hear Browns fans being like, "Oh, sexual assault," yeah, it's like you wouldn't have been talking about that if he's playing good, though. Let's be honest.
Right.
Bobby, what'd you think? You saw that thing explode. Only way is up for the Browns now, right? Nick Chubb's back. They might have somebody decent throwing the ball. What do you think of Jameis and Myles Garrett getting all holier than thou afterwards? Like, what's your
Jameis is back in now, so I mean, at least we'll have some fun in Cleveland.
I love Week 7
Come
Jameis.
on, man.
That's when
Come
he
on.
shows up every year.
love-
He's like fucking Santa Claus.
We love Jameis on this program. He's one of our favorite quarterbacks. You never know what you're gonna get with him. It's like
he's gonna finish that season 11 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. It's gonna be wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, and do you think the Browns could rattle off a few W's here with Jameis at the helm?
No.
No, I think there's got to be more. There's got to be more. I mean, yes, I think that if you were to ask me,
imagine this team went 11.
If they were going to win more
this
games.
Team went 11-6 with Joe Flacco last year.
Yeah, I think with like sort of a random Joe Flacco appearance again, though, right? Like they still wanted to have Deshaun Watson as their QB last year, so they sort of deserved whatever was going to happen to them over the last 2 years. Don't guarantee money like that. That's the lesson from this. If you think you were ever going to get guaranteed money, you can now thank Deshaun Watson for guaranteeing that you never will get guaranteed money.
I think even more inexplicable is that they gave him that deal on top of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just trading multiple first-round picks for a guy with sexual assault allegations. These people get these jobs? Then you gave him the most guaranteed money in the history of the NFL.
I mean,
at the time,
even if you were getting 2019 Deshaun Watson, if you knew you were getting 2019 Deshaun Watson, I still think that's a bad deal to give somebody.
A lot of money.
You know, it would have been more excusable had that happened. And I think his fall off should be studied. I mean, I've never seen a more dramatic decline without sort of a very serious injury that always does that to guys. But I don't know. I mean, are we ever going to see him play football again?
Maybe not as a starter.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll be.
I mean, like you guys said last week, they're going to trot this motherfucker out every chance.
He's done for this year.
Right, but next year, I bet he'll be back.
You don't think they could maybe just if they said like, okay, it didn't work, we got to be in a full rebuild again?
No, they're going to.
I'm not saying this is a good idea.
They're going to draft a quarterback. They have to. There's no way they're going to.
So then,
again, next
can you get him off the books somehow? Can you trade him and like a 3rd round pick?
The only way, and we don't want
somebody to take the contract.
The only way that his contract can be nullified is if another accusation comes up.
Is that true?
Yes.
You just see like the fucking Browns owner in a wig, teary eyed on MSNBC.
New massage therapist in Cleveland.
Is that you, sir? Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
So we don't want that.
No, we don't want that. Would you take if the New England Patriots, I still believe, are the number 1 draft space or cap space team in the league, right? You guys have the most cap space of anybody.
Well,
would you in this offseason, if they were to give you like some picks to take this contract off their hands, but like basketball style, would you do it?
No.
To just have Deshaun Watson sitting on your bench and paying him fucking absurd amounts of money? You wouldn't do it? Even if they give you like
5 first round draft
that's
picks?
the only way.
Is that what it would take?
That's what it would take for me. Because they don't have it.
I don't think they have them.
When's their next first round draft pick? 2028?
That's the thing. You say they're going to draft a quarterback. They gave away that fucking house so the Texans could be a fucking powerhouse. You know what I mean? I mean, damn. Why didn't they just draft CJ Stroud? Are they stupid? All right. That's enough talk about the Cleveland Browns. It's depressing. We're going to go to cross-offs. Deshaun's a cross-off. The Jags are a cross-off. We don't have to talk about them. Panthers, we touched on briefly, cross-off. Raiders are 2-5, crossed off forever. They're so bad. The Browns, already talked about it. Okay. The Pats are 1-6. They did not look good again.
They're really
I'm going to be
bad.
honest. I did not wake up.
They're really bad.
I know you didn't.
But to see them losing like that to the Jacksonville Jaguars is, Mike, what happened?
Dude, they got off 10-0. Like they scored in their first 2 drives. They started really fast. Drake May looked good, big plays, and then
he had a decent stat line. Like if you just look at his box score, you'd think they won the game.
Yeah, but that knuckle dragger of an offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt, was like, you know what? What we're gonna do now is we're just gonna run the ball because we can't. Our offensive line sucks, and our quarterback's throwing really good passing routes. So we're just gonna take that away from them. And then the Jags put up 32 unanswered points. 32.
Was
the Jaguars. The
7
team
for 18.
Yeah, but he didn't fumbles. That's good. But like
that's like 2 games in a row without a fumble, right?
Well, he didn't play the game before. So yeah, technically 2 games have passed since he last fumbled. Yes, but I mean, this is the same Jaguars team that the Bears fucking waxed, and we were literally 1 drive away from them imploding. Like the momentum was all us, and then Gerard May. I'm just gonna put this out there. Not only should the Patriots be crossed off, however, if we lose to the Jets this week, Gerard Mayo should be fired. It should be over. He's lost.
He's not a good coach. He's just not a good coach.
He's never done it before.
He might be a terrible coach.
No, he's really bad. The decisions he makes.
Yeah.
He acts like an interim head coach. That's what he does.
Right. Yeah, and then he gets up after the game acting all tough. We're just a soft football team.
It's because of him.
And then the very next day, he said, "I didn't mean to say that. We're not solid. We have all the right guys to win here because
dude, you got to stick to your guns, man. You got to stick to your guns,
right?" Well, because the other asshole that was our coach last year got on the Pat McAfee show and said, "No, those guys aren't soft. We had the New England Patriots last year had the number 1 rushing defense, and it's all the same players. So what's happening?"
I'll tell you what's happened. Bill Belichick was a good coach. He was just a bad GM. You know what I do find fascinating is that the person that's on the most podcasts and television appearances across my whole entire algorithm is the person with the least personality from the last 30 years of football. And he's not doing anything. He's not spit shining the cup at all.
No, he's just being Bill.
He's going on Pat McAfee and right.
Yeah,
I don't think those guys are soft. I mean, just got to get them go out there and play football. And it's like, Bill,
used to talk about
dude. Why is he on every channel?
He is on every show now.
He's just such a bitch, though, because he refused to talk about them after they beat the Bengals. And now, like the way that he phrased it,
he's my mortal enemy. He's been talking shit about Caleb Williams all off season too. Like that guy can absolutely get fucked. I mean, like I don't understand. I don't get it. I was defending him. I don't know what I did to him because I defended him to you guys. I was like, I still think it was him and Brady. I still think he was this. No, he's a fraud. He's so lucky that Tom Brady was there. He couldn't win shit without him. Don't ever fucking let my quarterback's name leave your mouth again, Bill Belichick. Okay, go coach and shut up, or just go home because listening to him talk on every show on the internet is infuriating because I actually don't agree with anything he says, which is wild. Like I feel like he should be him and Brady. If you just started watching football and you were like that guy that's on the Pat McAfee show and that guy who's doing the color commentary for this game this week used to be the 2 greatest minds in football, people would be like, no, nope, absolutely not. I don't believe that for 1 second. No way. Tom Brady talks like he just learned how to talk before the show started. Like he just was like uploaded with his like talking program and he's still working out I think he's getting worse, Mike.
Well, I thought he was getting better until he was officially named the owner, and now he can't say anything negative about any player or the rest.
You think that's what it was? Like, he really can't say anything. Like he's basically useless.
He can't prep anymore either. Because he can't meet with certain players. He can't meet with certain people on the staff.
He sounds surprised when teams do stuff now. Like
he legitimately is.
I was like, a lot of those stadiums, you can see the announcers when they do that upwards angle of the offensive and defensive coordinators. You can see the announcers in the booth, like right behind them. They're all like in a cluster. I'm like, Brady should just do those games so he can just look over their shoulder from the booth and be like, I think they're going to run like an XY post play right now. And he'll sound a little bit closer to Tony fucking Romo. Imagine Tony Romo's better than you at something, Tom Brady. You never could have foreseen that. He never could have foreseen that in a million fucking years, but here we are.
Yeah, well, those who can't do teach, right? That's what the old saying was.
Yeah. That's a good point. I'm telling Ray you said that.
I mean, you don't have to. I just said it. He'll listen to it.
Oh, right. He'll be listening to it. I mean, I guess we don't need him to be like professional mathematician. It's fine. Yeah, they do say that, and I just think, fuck, man, I don't know. It's kind of depressing watching these two guys in their retirement. It's weird how greatness doesn't translate, I guess, is the moral of the story. All right, well, we'll get more in depth, unfortunately, on the Pats this week.
Can we just cross them off? Can we? Please?
No, I really want to see him play the Jets. You know, the Jets are a bad team.
The 2-6 Patriots.
The Jets are really bad, though. You know, and if the Pats can bounce back and look at 2-6, if the Jets are that bad and the Dolphins are as bad as I think they are, it's tough. It's tough to cross anyone in that division out, Mike. I have to say. Because anyone could win at that point.
The Bills are 5-2 at this point. So like it's not like
are they 5-2? I thought they lost 3 games. Did I have it written down wrong?
Aren't they 5-2?
No, you're right. They're 5-2. They're 5-2. The Bills could fall off a cliff.
Sure, but the Pats could also.
I just can't.
The Pats could also win another game.
The Patriots are one. We're one win away from being tied for second.
Look how good their QB. Yeah, exactly. But look how good their QB is.
Dave, just think about this. Look how good their QB is, and look how badly they're still getting blown out. Like he looks good.
If you fire Mayo,
losing by 20.
If you fire Mayo and bring in Vrabel, I could see you maybe getting a
mid-season bringing in Vrabel.
Yeah, fuck it. If anyone can do it, he knows where to park, right? You could skip a lot of steps. Wow. I mean, greatness really doesn't translate. No, we can't cross them off yet, man. I'm sorry. The Titans, I mean, they're terrible. Any team that's lost that many games is so bad, other than the Pats. It's so bad that they just have to get crossed off. They just have to get crossed off. Sorry.
The Raiders have one more win and one less loss, and they're crossed off.
I think the Pats are frisky, though. I think the Pats are frisky. You know, we'll see. One more week. Let's see how they do against the Jets. One more week. I promise we'll really think about it next week. I promise. But I don't want to do it if you're not here. I want it to be ceremonial. The Rams, I mean, they've got players coming back. They just won a game. I know it was against the Raiders, but they won a game.
They're coming back. I heard.
I just was going to say, I hear they're shopping Cup around. Good for my Puka Nacua investment if he can get his legs underneath him this year, but not so good probably for the Los Angeles Rams. I worry they're just going to bench Puka for the remainder of the season if they're shopping Cup. It's like, fuck it. Like, live to fight another day. Let's get him 100%. I worry about that, but we'll see.
Well,
we're not crossing the Rams off
yet.
They
don't have draft picks because they sold out all of their picks back in 2018.
For a chip, though.
Yeah, they got that chip.
You know?
No.
You know.
So twice. So they did it in 2018 when they got Aqib Talib and all of them, and then they did it again in 2021.
And they won the chip when? 2019?
Yeah. No, 2021. So like I don't know if they have first round picks. You're not going to get one for Cooper, but
I don't think they have a bad team though. I just think that they were like they're just pretty decimated by injuries. Yeah. They are getting a little older, and then also I do think they have a good coach though. So if you do just sort of invest in McVay and just let him build back up again, I mean, they're always a little better than we think they're going to be because of him. So if you're building in like a McVay +2, you know, every season, you're in pretty good shape. So we'll see. They should try to take advantage of Puka, you know, and like just the fact that you got him for nothing, for like absolutely nothing, and he's like one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Like you have to try to, I think, capitalize on that. But what you're saying, Goff's old. I mean, Stafford's old.
He's 30. Is he 37 or 38?
37, I think.
I guess he doesn't look quite the same.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to keep an eye on.
And he's getting his ass kicked though this year, DK. It's not like he's not getting sacked.
Out of all the 3 and 4 teams, so I feel like if there's one team that could take a turn and make a run, it's the Rams.
It's the Rams,
right?
Them and the Bengals.
Bengals too, yeah.
Bengals surprisingly enough, the Bengals are 3 and 4 as well. But yeah, no, I agree with you. Just because they're coach and they do have talent, so we'll see. Let's keep an eye on them though. They're staying on the cross-off list, but we're not crossing them off yet. Saints. That was a bad look against the Broncos. It was a bad look. It seems to me like that coach has quit, or they've quit on the coach. to phrase it better.
I've been talking about Dennis Allen getting fired for like a
He
year and a half now.
started off. He posted fucking 100 points across 2 weeks at the start of the season. You were freaking out about the New Orleans Saints across the first 2 seasons, and now like everybody knows the New Orleans Saints are the New Orleans Saints. Who would have fucking thought, huh? I mean, me. But who else would have thought? I mean, everybody.
He also has the cover of what Spencer Rattler being the quarterback because Derek Carr got hurt again. Well, that's why
I still maintain that Carr would have started carring.
Oh, yeah.
He kind of did right before he went down. He kind of
he started to.
Yeah. So, I think if you're trying to, if you look at that franchise right now, you say we've got Alvin Kamara, we've got a group of decent wide receivers that are now all fucking hurt. Let's live to fight another day. Let's fire a coach. Let's get an interim guy in from the backroom staff. Let's tank, and let's get I don't know a QB.
Is Michael Thomas still on that roster?
Yeah.
Yep. And he was good a long time ago.
Like 5 years.
He was unbelievable. Good. He had like 170 catches one year.
But are the Saints not always perennially a team? We talked about this in the preview show. They're perennially a team where you like a few of their players every year, right?
Yeah.
Like over every generation, you're like, I don't know, I like that guy, or I liked Reggie Bush. Like there was always been who was the other running back they had?
Pierre Thomas
was really good. Marquise Colston. Pierre Thomas was good. Drew Brees was pretty likable. To be totally honest with you, he was a good QB. Can we cross him off? Are we done?
Yeah,
with the Saints
I think
this
we're
year?
done with the Saints.
Yeah.
All right, we can't uncross. It's so mortifying. So we can be careful, but I think it's probably finally time. The Cardinals beating the Chargers. I was surprised that happened. I'm still kind of high on the Chargers. I still kind of like moments of what I see from them. I think that they are devoid of offensive weaponry to a little bit of an alarming degree at times. I still have hope for Herbert. I think Harbaugh can make that into a good team. I like what their defense is doing. I'm not ready to cross them off yet. The Chargers, that is. But the Cardinals' stay of execution, I mean, I'm still a little high on them too. I like what Kyler's doing. Marvin Harrison Jr. getting healthy. I think he's able to spread it around. I don't know if you saw his red zone efficiency numbers over the last 2 seasons. They're kind of outrageous. They're like Tom Brady level good. Like he basically always fucking throws a tutty when he goes to the red zone, which, as Bobby can attest, is a good quality for your quarterback to have, and a bad one for him to not have in spades. Well, don't worry about it. I had to get something in there because you're on a bye week. But we can do a preview. The Giants. I wouldn't cross them off at 2-5 if it weren't for the fact that they're about to get like
the Giants are crossed off. The Giants are crossed off. The Giants are so bad.
Okay.
The Giants are such a bad football team.
I'm not. That's fine. That's fine. Executive decision. Giants crossed off. We don't have to talk about them anymore. Moving on.
They're terrible.
Let's talk about the Jets. Let's talk about the other non-New York State playing team. There's only one quarterback that plays in New York State, and that's Josh Allen. So funny to think about. But the New Jersey Jets are floundering. And I hate to tell you, but there was a little exchange on our group chat the other day, a couple weeks ago, when Rodgers lost and he basically threw the game-losing interception. And the first thing out of my mouth, well, out of my thumbs in our group chat was, I can't wait for him to blame Mike Williams for that. And I was half joking, to be totally honest with you. I really didn't think he would actually come and like out his wide receiver in the press conference afterwards, after already getting the coach fired. He does. Outs Mike Williams. The following week, that's all covered up by the fact that he gets Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams arrived in New York, and I think has seemed to forget his catching gloves back in Las Vegas. Maybe he lost them at the craps table. I don't know. But he looked like shit. The big, like, we're back together, big fucking announcement. Very, like, first quarter of the NBA Heat season after they traded for Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, or for LeBron James and Chris Bosh. And it was just like, they were just losing. And it was like, wait a second, I thought they were supposed to be the best fucking team of all time. Big announcement. Devontae Adams is here. What did we say on the show? Yeah, I don't think that's the only problem over there. I don't think that's your issue. And they were exposed. They were found out. Aaron Rodgers specifically. You want to know a quarterback who's had better numbers, not only on that evening, but over the past 2 years since 2022, on average, than Aaron Rodgers? Russell Wilson. And we've been talking about him being shitty.
Yeah.
But we haven't been talking about Aaron Rodgers being shitty. Same numbers, same QB rating, roughly, same yards per game, same tutties.
Are you including all of 2022?
Well, averages.
Only reason is because Aaron Rodgers didn't play all of 2023.
Right. But since 2022, averages, he hasn't been good. And I've been saying that he hasn't been a good QB since basically his last full year. Like his last full year in Green Bay, he wasn't that good. Is essentially my point, right? So we talk about Russell Wilson being a shitty quarterback. We talk about Geno Smith being just okay. He's in the Geno Smith realm in this last era.
He might be worse at this point. This season, he's been worse.
But in the realm, right? So why does he get such a pass? I mean, not from us. I think we've been great at talking shit about Aaron Rodgers. But why does he get such a pass from everybody? He says dumb shit. He doesn't work out in the offseason. He's taking fucking ayahuasca in a hut somewhere. He thinks that he can get by on talent alone because he sort of always has been able to. He blames everybody else for his shortcomings. He says things like, I got to play better, but really it's because these guys are listening to the media. Like that's his latest excuses. It's like the reporters because they're not going anywhere. So he can just continue to blame them, I guess. He reminds me of Trump when he talks, to be totally honest with you. It just makes absolutely no fucking sense. Why does he get such a pass, this guy?
I don't know. I'm not sure. If you ask,
okay, I can tell you why.
I was gonna say Mike knows.
Oh yeah, well it's because he won very early on, like his second or third year starting. He followed Brett Favre. He has all this fucking arm talent. He looked like for the first 10 years in Green Bay that he was just like this quiet, talented, like wants to win there. And people always latch on to that shit instead of the fact that he consistently chokes in the playoffs. He's never taken accountability, to your point.
The only reason he even won the Super Bowl is if you look at his path, it just was the easiest one he ever got.
Right.
And I will say Chicago Bears in that.
That was a great game, though. That was a great Super Bowl. But everyone just always like hangs on to the lure of Aaron Rodgers, when in reality, if you strip away that one season, and yes, it's a championship, great. But if you strip that away, we'd be talking about him the way that people talk about, I wouldn't even say Dan Marino. I think he's so much more shitty than Dan Marino.
Dan Marino's way better than him.
Yeah.
Crazy better than him. Come on. We look back and we feel bad for Dan Marino, right? We feel bad that he.
I tried to kick him out of the Hall of Fame, if you remember correctly.
Yeah, but you just like to
be
controversial, Mike.
We tried to do it.
You just like to be spicy and saucy.
We did that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the answer. Is essentially like he's kind of parading off the last scraps of his previous image, which I admit was of the most talented guy a lot of years, right? Like every year we'd come in and say he's probably favored for MVP because as much as Brady is a perennial winner, when they're playing side by side, when they're playing simultaneously, everybody always was like, yeah, but Rodgers is like more talented. But it's like, I don't know. What does that mean? I can we just start including things like leadership skills, ability to win, clutch, like ability to read the game, come back, fire up your team. Isn't that all talent also? Like, doesn't that all factor in as well? Like, maybe he could throw the ball in more ways than Tom Brady, but like not one human alive would take Aaron Rodgers over Tom Brady to try.
They have a worse record right now than they did last year at this time with Zach Wilson as their quarterback.
Yeah, he's worse for them.
Just
and that was some of the most egregious quarterback play I've ever seen. That Zach Wilson was some of the most egregious quarterback play I've ever fucking seen in my life. So they fired their coach now. I mean, Jesus Christ. It's such a mess over there.
But hey, they did sign his
You got to get the keys off.
Yeah. That's good. Like, their defense should be better. But do you know, I'm sure that you all know this, like we always talk about clutch with Aaron Rodgers. Like he is tied for 34th in the league all time for comebacks. Like the people ahead of him, Kerry Collins, Carson Palmer, Eli Manning. I mean, Eli's clutch though. Phillip Rivers, Y.A. Tittle, like this guy, Matt Ryan. So, and we don't talk about any of those guys.
Matt Ryan was good.
Matt Ryan
was good. Come on,
not great. Like Aaron Rodgers. But people talk about Aaron Rodgers like he's great, not good.
Yeah, that is the issue. That's the actual issue. Because we talked last week about them they were trying to get a Tom Brady deal out of Aaron Rodgers coming to New York. They thought, like, let's get the last few years out of this guy. He's a winner. No, he isn't.
Nope.
Like, if you want to beat Tom Brady, if you want to win at 40 plus, you got to be a winner. That's how you got to go do it. I know it sounds oversimplified, but Aaron Rodgers just ain't that guy, man. I think that I'm glad that our hate of him finally like infected his play enough, Mike, that we were finally right. These takes are aging finally beautifully.
It took some
the
time.
guy just
It took some time.
Yeah, but here we are. I'm not crossing him off yet, and it's in the similar vein to wanting Deshaun Watson out there just getting beat up. I want to talk shit about Aaron Rodgers again next week. So if they're crossed off, the segment just isn't as good. So let's just leave them.
Let's play the Patriots next week.
Bobby.
Yeah, so they're gonna score. They're gonna score 43 points.
Yeah, but it's going to be really annoying. We're going to have to talk about it because Rodgers is going to do a victory lap like he just beat the fucking 89-49.
You still won't cross off the Patriots. You still won't cross off the Pats, but we might cross off the Jets. If
they lose to the Jets like that, I'll strongly think about crossing the Pats off. I'll think about it for sure.
Right.
Bobby, the Cowboys are 3-3. They didn't look good going into the bye week, and unfortunately, you're coming out of a bye week 49ers. To play the San Francisco 49ers in prime time. As much as they're beat up, they lost Ayuk. McCaffrey's not ready to come back yet. I don't think you'll see him on the field, right? Unless I'm mistaken. All right, I missed some news. I don't know.
I'm not looking forward to this week.
You think you're going to beat the San Francisco 49ers?
No, I do not. The Cowboys are frauds. The Cowboys are complete frauds.
I don't even know if they're frauds because frauds usually are like have a good record and like playing bad. They're kind of shitty across the board.
They're
you know what I mean? They had like one good game.
Territory. The 3-3 record. It's closer to the 3-4. I think. You know what I mean? Like you look at their wins. They beat the Giants. Who else did they beat? They beat. I can't even think of it right now. The Steelers.
They got up for that game.
They did get up for that game, but they beat them on a last-second play. I don't know. Dak didn't even look that great that game.
Getting stomped by the Lions.
So
that hard,
Browns, Giants, and Steelers.
Okay, see. So
Giants by 5.
Cowboys are not
right.
Are not going anywhere this season. I can guarantee you that. This isn't the year for the Cowboys. This is not.
All right. They might get relegated to the cross-offs if they lose to the 49ers. We might not cross them off yet, but they might be in that portion of the conversation. Yeah. Honorable mentions. I can't believe it, but the Broncos have made it into the honorable mentions section at 4-3. They destroyed the Saints. I don't know how much that means. I still don't like watching them play. I still think Sean Payton's face annoys me. He just looks like he has ill intent. That's what his face gives me. I don't like them. I don't want them to be good, but here they are with a winning record.
Bonix is so weird. He's like Taysom Hill, but a real quarterback. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what to make of Bonix. I don't.
He's got some really weird moments where I'm like, that was kind of a big boy throw, and then he has moments where I'm like, that can't last. And like, yeah, like the Taysom Hill comparison is true. Like, he runs like a guy that like just doesn't. There's no tomorrow for him, which I do appreciate. I genuinely do appreciate it. But like, no one's made of that hardy of stuff to like lower your shoulder on every run play, right? I feel like I'm watching him to get cartwheeled off the fucking off the tackle every week.
Are we sure the gap between Daniel Jones and Bo Nix is that big? Like, I feel like I'm watching just a maybe slightly more intelligent Daniel Jones every time I watch Bo Nix.
I think Bo Nix is in a lot better on his feet. I think his footwork in general and his like decision making slightly better of when to go and when to.
Maybe the good version of Daniel, like when Daniel Jones is playing at his best level,
at his best.
Yeah, playoff year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, I guess I see the comparison. I do, because it's like he also makes inexplicable plays sometimes, and you're just like, what was the I hate that, and this was happening to the Bears for the last 2 seasons. I hate the like, what was the plays? Like what play did you call? Like, it's always bad because like I was saying, like the worst thing about the telltale sign of having a bad offensive coordinator, and like it sounds like it happened to you this week, Mike, is the if it
And
ain't
last
broke,
week,
if it ain't broke, do fix it offensive coordinator,
yeah.
like we had in Chicago for the last couple of years. Luke Getsy, he's over there doing the same shit in Las Vegas, bro. It's crazy. You'll start a game really well, and everything looks like it's clicking. He's like, all right, let me in there. I got to make some changes. That happens, and I feel like that happens sometimes in Denver, but I feel like it's Bo. Like I feel like he's like, why are we letting Bo Nix make a call at the line? This isn't good. We shouldn't be letting this guy drive. He's been drinking all night. And then something crazy happens. And I'm just like, yeah, okay. I see
Right.
the Daniel Jones comparisons now as I sort of talk it out in my head. I don't like watching them play football, the Broncos. I've never liked them as an organization, if I'm being totally honest with you. I might have an internal bias, but I might actually start thinking he's fun to watch now that we've kind of parsed him out a little bit more, and I can see it in a different light.
I tried this week. I'm glad we got you around to it.
Sometimes I have to be a little cautious with you, Bobby, because you get very excited about one week.
I do get excited with quarterbacks. I understand.
So I have
Josh
to be like,
Dobbs.
I've let you get me like pumped up about stuff in the past, and then I'm just like, I should have thought that through. But I enjoy certain aspects of Bo Nix, but not really the Denver Broncos in general, if that makes sense. Are we going to see them in the power rankings if they win this week? They play the Panthers.
No, they're not there yet. They're not there yet.
Okay, they're going to be 5-3 though. All right. The Bengals, they beat the Browns.
I think two is where the power rankings are right now.
Minimum is the minimum going in. Yeah, that makes sense. Or maximum, I guess, is the better way to put it. The Bengals beat the Browns. They're playing the Eagles next. If they go 4-4 by beating the Eagles, which by looking at the Eagles, I mean, they're a little trick or treat, but they've really only beat up on bad teams. The Bengals could go and beat the Eagles and be 4-4.
I feel like,
and then we have to take them.
This is the week that we know if the Bengals are back or not, because beating the Browns is, you know what I mean? The Browns are one of those teams where it's like, are they back or did they just beat the Browns? So,
yeah, I think you could maybe say a little bit of the same thing about the Eagles, though. I kind of think it's one of those that's going to reveal both to us. Go ahead, Mike.
As you're talking about the Eagles, I just want to point out they're not in the honorable mention or in the power rankings or crossed off. So what do we do with them?
We talk about them right now. I don't know. They're a fucking enigma. I think that
they're 4-2.
Yeah.
They're 4-2. Let's look at their record here. Let's look at how they've done.
They're 4-2. I don't think I've ever seen.
They beat the Giants, the Browns. So far, not so good. They barely beat the Saints, and they beat the Packers in the worst, biggest asterisk on a Friday night game slide ever played. So asterisk on the Packers and the teams that they've lost to. Yeah. They've lost to the Falcons, who looked a little fraudulent this week. They've lost to the Buccaneers, who looked a little fraudulent this week.
Well, their entire skill position was carted off the fucking field.
The health and safety officer in Tampa Bay looked a little fraudulent this week. The physical therapist in Tampa Bay looked a little fraudulent this week. I don't know. I guess that to me, the way that the Eagles play really does depend a lot on Jalen Hurts, more than I'd be comfortable with if I was an Eagles fan, but he's balling out. He really does do a lot when he's playing against defenses that can't spy him properly. He can open up the game for himself. I think we've seen a lot thematically. We've seen a lot of the idea this season of like you can't really throw in today's NFL unless you can sort of establish some sort of movement on the ground. I think we've seen that come across from a lot of teams, for better or for worse. The Bears' passing game got better when DeAndre Swift started looking like an actual running back. The times that the quarterbacks for the Pats have looked good are the games where Ramondre's not coughing it up and he's running well. But you guys were moving the ball as you said at the start of the Jags game, and it opened everything up for Drake May. Rodgers is calling it out when Breece Hall has a good game. He has better games. It's the whole league. Running backs all of a sudden seem to matter again. And I think when you're looking at this Eagles team, Jalen Hurts is I think Lamar's a little like this, but I think he's actually becoming a really elite pocket passer, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But Jalen Hurts can really open the game up for himself. He can really be like a one-man wrecking crew out there. And realistically, his closest comparison, I don't think skill-wise at this point, but his closest comparison to what kind of QB he is Josh Allen. And I think a guy with that much physicality, with that thing in his back pocket where he can always get a yard, and the amount of weapons he has and how good Saquon's been to take a little bit of that off his shoulders as well. I just think they're very likable from a skill position standpoint. Like I like watching them play football. The problem is I still think there's some weird shit going on there. Why?
The
Because I
AIDS.
think they might have the worst coach in the NFL. I think their coach might be the biggest bonehead in the NFL. So it's hard for me because if you look across the entire roster, their skill
You've seen
positions.
Gerard Mayo and Mike McCarthy, right? You've seen those
Uh,
two.
yeah, but the thing is they're not working with anything, you know? Like it to me, the really bad coaches show it when they have some stuff and they just can't put it together, right? The Chargers last year, I think you can see a difference there already. Yeah, the Cowboys are a great example of this. Maybe their past 6 head coaches, like, you know, where it's like, look at all the talent, and they just can't fucking do anything with it. I didn't say definitely the worst coach. Biggest bonehead. Guy I would like to be my coach the least, if I'm being totally honest with you, is Nick Sirianni.
Sure.
And I think that what that does is it shows you that as good as and as talented as they are, none of us believe that they're going to really do anything with that talent this year in any meaningful capacity in the postseason because of who their coach is. So like he's going to find a way to fuck it up. So I don't know what to do with them, to be totally honest with you, because they're such a fucking placeholder. I would be so shocked if they made a meaningful postseason run. I really would. But yet they are a team that has done that very recently and has all the talent on paper to do it. So I don't know. You tell me, what are the Eagles? Lucky that they're in the NFC.
They're the second best team in the NFC East. I mean that's where they have been the last couple of years, but now like obviously in first is the Commanders. I think like you said, talent will never be an issue. That coaching might be, but that coach also got them to a Super Bowl. I just find it.
I know.
They're.
I think that broke him
not,
though. I think that's what broke his brain.
They're not good enough to be in the power rankings. However, if you weren't on the show, Dave, I could make an argument as to why they could replace the Bears, but I'm not going to do that. But they're definitely
they probably have like, I mean, I don't know. They're oddly similar, aren't they? Like sort of roster wise,
and they've all beaten nobody.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's true of the Bears. I can't really deny that. You know, I can't really deny that accusation. Like, it's been pretty. I mean, I don't want to skip the honorable mentions. Let's finish out the Eagles before we go on to this, but because I do have to talk about how my team somehow miraculously lost their bye week. But and that's why I was mad during that Texans game. By the way, I've sort of come to my senses, but because I was so fucking pissed. But yeah, the Eagles are weird. They're enigmatic. But you're right that they have the kind of talent and they're playing at the kind of level where they deserve to be talked about more on this show. So I will write this down and I will try to be more aware of our Philadelphia brethren, a lovely city full of really wonderful people, genuinely so clean and nice. Anything on the Eagles? Anything I missed?
I can't believe
I mean, they're in your division. You like.
I can't believe I agree with you that I enjoy watching them play football. That's.
Yeah, I mean Saquon's.
That's what I mean. Saquon's there now, and
Hurts has been making
everyone.
Hurts made some.
I'll have a good pass.
It was fun to watch,
and they sacked Daniel Jones 8 times this week. So
Jalen Carter's sick. He's sick. He's genuinely
they sacked
sick.
him 5 times in the first half.
Yeah, Jalen Carter's out there taking fucking scalps, dude. That guy's like the new Ndamukong Suh. He's like
Jordan Davis too.
Yeah, he's good. I like them. It's so annoying. All right, we'll see how they do. I think that they're also a team that could come out and just shit the bed. Like they could come out for 2 or 3 weeks in a row, and you're just like, okay, I see now what.
Sirianni's the only coach. He's the only coach that ever has been on the hot seat for a 4-2 team.
Yeah, that's. I don't know. Actually, is that true?
I can't think of anyone else ever.
It reminds me a lot of Doug Peterson, you know, like the guy that it's just like you shouldn't have given him confidence. You shouldn't have like told him that he was like a good coach once by letting him make it that far in a postseason. Where, you know, Doug Peterson, same thing, where it's like he does a book tour after he like calls a fucking trick play in the Super Bowl. Like, who cares? You know, there's no one's gonna find your book, Doug Peterson. Fucking visor coaches. This is what I'm saying. Should be the fucking last question in every interview, in every front office across the NFL. What's your sideline gear? What's your sideline attire? If you're a head coach, are you going to switch it? Because what if he's never been a visor coach, but then he becomes a head coach and he fucking pops that visor on, dude? Like Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy was standing on the sidelines in Kansas City, but bald as the day is long. Nothing on his head. Goes to Chicago, pops that visor on. Might as well say fucking fraud across the front of it. Never been a good visor coach ever. I think what's the name of the Jeff Fisher? Jeff Fisher. It should be called the Jeff Fisher disease. If you're a visor coach, you're a Jeff Fisher visor coach. You got to go. Doug
It's a great
Peterson's the
call.
I feel
face
like
of
Jeff
visor
Fisher
coaches
didn't
right
wear
now.
the visor
Doug Peterson,
before he got to St. Louis, and then that's
before he started
yeah.
sucking. That's what I'm saying. He didn't do it in Tennessee, and he was good at coaching in Tennessee, and then he became inexplicably the worst coach ever. Visor, don't do it. Okay, is there anyone else that we need to talk about before we move on? Oh yeah, there's tons of teams. Okay, let's we're this is going too long. We have to speed it up. The Falcons looked a little fraudulent. Anyone got anything to say on the Falcons? I did try to tell you guys. It's
This is why
up and down on them.
why they weren't in the
Not
power rankings. Everyone wanted them in there, and because they have
pretty good call there, Mike. You have to
they
admit.
have games,
No, I
big
don't.
games like
Job on that, no?
Kirk Cousins to me, he represents the Falcons so well because they've done this for the past 2 years, where
Perfect
he
Falcons.
really is. Where it's like they're so boom or bust. Where 1 week they look great, and then the next week they just get absolutely smashed, and it's just been like that for 2 years
Mhm.
now. So I don't know if they're gonna sniff the power rankings anytime soon, but I don't know.
Mike, can
I
you
mean-
use your verbal dexterity to talk about the Falcons in the context of losing to the Seahawks and how good or not good you think the Seahawks are, while simultaneously previewing the fact that they're going to play the Bucks and that might be a loser leaves town match, at least in the honorable mentions section.
Okay. Yes, I can do this very eloquently. I'm going to try to.
know
I
you
believe
can.
that the Falcons are a power ranking worthy team because if you look at their losses are to Pittsburgh, good team, Kansas City, pretty good team, and Seattle,
Decent.
pretty good team, right? Like they're not losing to nobodies, and all of their, I mean, they're beating
And they're
good
close
teams
games.
too, right? So this is their worst loss of the year. I thought Kirk looked awful, but this is to what you just said, Bobby, this season represents nothing like we've ever seen before in Kirk Cousins' career because he's winning primetime games against better teams. And he doesn't do that.
Do you think this is the most weapons he's had? Not the best, maybe, but the most?
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that
he had a good amount of Minnesota.
Well, he had Cook, Thielen, Jefferson, and then oh god, he didn't have Hawkinson for too long. But
he never had a running back like Bijan, right?
No. Dalvin was pretty good though.
Dalvin was pretty good, but I don't know if I feel like Bijan Robinson is like a game-changing backfield player.
I think the difference though is that the coach knew how to use Dalvin Cook. It still feels like they don't really know how to best utilize Bijan Robinson. Like he can do so much and do it all really well that they don't really know where to focus.
I'm just waiting for him to just become the best running back in the NFL, though. I don't know why that is. I feel about him how a lot of people feel about Jahmyr Gibbs, I think. Maybe it's just like just like a weird sort of like I just know he's good and I know it's going to start to really. I mean, it's not as if he hasn't had really good weeks. Like this last week, he put up some good numbers, but I think that the idea behind Kirk Cousins being a spread the ball around guy is a good idea. I think that he is sort of that dude, right? Where he can really feed a lot of mouths out on the field if properly backed up by a good backfield and like proper play calling. I think Kirk's issue is I know this, people get really mad at me when I say stuff like this about Kirk Cousins, because if you look at his numbers, like they're pretty top tier in the regular season for the most part.
Yeah.
To me, he's just never been a guy, but like I think Brock Purdy's like this, and I think Brock Purdy's a good quarterback. You don't want Brock Purdy to be trying to win you the game. You want Brock Purdy to put the guys that are going to win you the game in situations to do so, right? In really, really smart ways at the right time. So I like Brock Purdy. I'm not slandering Brock Purdy. I don't mind Kirk Cousins, especially now that he's out of my division. I'm not slandering him either. I just want to make that clear. I'm just saying sometimes Kirk puts himself in a position where he's like, I'm going to go get this one. And I think that's what I saw a little bit this week, where I'm just like, dude, use your guys, man. Utilize your guys, manage the game, play the scoreboard. That's you. That's who you are. You're one of the best in the world at that. And that can win you a lot of games, including postseason games. You don't need to be a hero. And I'm not saying he went crazy and did like a ton of hero ball or anything. I'm just saying that you know the feeling, you know the moment when it's like 3 minutes left and you can see the QB like trying to win it for his team. You saw Lamar fall into this level of quicksand in the playoffs last year. You've seen
Yep.
Brady try and fail at doing it and succeed at doing it, right? But it's like you've seen him succeed at it enough times where it's like, all right, well, let him cook. It's not like it's going to work every time. It's just not the position I want Kirk Cousins to be in. I want to try and limit that as much as possible. And
Yeah,
that to
listen,
me, like I have a similar feeling about the Buccaneers. Like I think Baker Mayfield can make some plays, but I've been saying this to you guys for weeks. Because he's the QB, it's difficult for me to envision them doing anything meaningful.
Could we just say that the Falcons, the Seahawks, the Bucks, and probably even the Niners are all in the same group right now. They're all going to be fighting. They're all going to be fighting for that exact same 5 through 7.
Who do you think is the best team right now out of that team? Out of that tier?
as currently constituted, the Bucks.
Yeah.
No, sorry, the Falcons.
Probably the Falcons. Probably the Falcons.
The Bucks.
But the Seahawks,
injury report Bucks.
I think it's a tie between the Falcons and the Seahawks because even though the Seahawks just beat the Falcons up, they're so similar when it comes to their talent. They both have great wide receivers. They both have great running backs, and they both have quarterbacks that at times are fraudulent. So they're very, very
are good, not great.
Very, very similar teams. So I mean, they're all in that same exact tier, right in the middle there.
I like the Seahawks coach a little bit more. I think he's like got some fresh new ideas
right?
that he's bringing to the game.
Yeah.
McDonald's, yeah. I think he's a good coach. I know he hasn't been around for like that much of a sample size, but he's done some things in some games that I find to be prescient and intelligent. So wait and see on all these teams, I guess. The only ones we can kind of really write off, unfortunately, now are the Bucks because like their 2 stud wide receivers are gone.
Evans out?
I don't think they have enough talent.
Evans is only gone. Evans only gone for 3 weeks.
Which is weird because it looked to me like his injury was worse because he came down so hard on that leg. But Godwin's done for them.
Though. Be on the lookout. I think that's where Cooper Kupp's going to land.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, maybe all of them can. They're in Bobby's right that all they're in a bit of a dead heat right now, and one of them is probably going to emerge. We'll see. Watch this space. I feel a little similar about the Chargers. I honestly feel a little bit similar about the Niners. Like they could really go either way. I think that they probably have more talent when all across the board fully healthy and are more of a contender when all across the board fully healthy, coaching, et cetera, et cetera. But because of their injuries, they're in a bit of a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I know Juwan Jennings has stepped up already this year, but gone down sucks. They did build this glass castle, though. Like it's not like we didn't know when all those players were going to San Francisco.
It's been their issue for years.
That they were getting a lot of guys that were like injury prone. I mean, it was borderline laughable when they got McCaffrey because it's like you just get everybody that might lose the season out of nowhere. And it has. You're right, Bobby. It has been their issue for years. So. Yeah, this season where they had to pay the piper, I feel like was always sort of coming, but. Where do you guys think, Bobby? Which way do you think that they're going to go? They're about to beat the Cowboys, according to you. So, do you think that they're like which path are they going to follow? Is it going to be more season from hell after they beat the Cowboys, or is Christian McCaffrey comes back? And
I think it depends on McCaffrey. If McCaffrey comes back, they definitely have a chance.
But that was not a nice injury report.
The double Achilles tendonitis hurts my Achilles just thinking about it. I don't like the sound of it. Oh. Yeah, I don't like it at all. It depends on McCaffrey because every week now they're losing someone else. Even Debo this week, he's in the hospital with pneumonia. So it's like they just can't catch a break. So if McCaffrey comes back, I feel like it takes a lot of pressure off of Purdy because that's really what it comes down to. Is like you said, Purdy's not.
And that O-line hasn't looked too fresh either. He's been running for his life to a certain degree.
Purdy's great. He's exactly what you see. He's better than good, but he's not great. So you need to give him those weapons around him. That's why he looks so good because he has Debo around him. He has McCaffrey. He has all these guys. And as soon as you take him away,
I still don't think that this proves that he's like a system guy or he's a fraud or anything. I
don't think so.
Anybody that loses all weapons all at once.
He's not on top. I wouldn't put him top 10. He's like number 11 or number 12. You know what I mean?
That's fine though. I don't know if anyone's claiming that he's like the best QB ever. I just think he's good. I just think he's like people slandering him for making the throws he's supposed to make last year just annoyed me, I guess, is like sort of what, it's like, okay, like he's a system guy. Okay. To me, it was as dumb as people being like, is Jaden Daniels a system guy? When like the Commanders still were just racking up points after he went out with the ribs this week. I'm like, no, he's not. They were just already shitting on them. It's just like, so it's fine. Like, no, he's not a system guy. Cliff Kingsbury is a decent offensive coordinator in the first half of the season, but we'll see. I hope he's healthy, by the way. Talked about the Bucks, talked about the Chargers. All right, we're doing the power rankings. Bears are at number 10. I hope he's healthy. I want to see the
showdown this week.
I want to see the full showdown. I want to see who's who. That being said, I still maintain if you had a take after 3 weeks on either quarterback, or you have a take after 7 weeks on either quarterback, you're wrong. Either way, however you feel about them, you're wrong, because even if you're right, you're not right because you're smart. You're right because you guessed right. There's no way to know. There's a few things more we know now than after 2 weeks. So the 2 week people, you don't even get in the room. If you had a hard take on either of those QBs after 2 weeks, you're not in here. You're not in the meeting. Please keep scrolling. After 7 weeks, okay, we've seen some stuff. Things we've seen. I think Jaden Daniels officially has an elite deep ball. I think he officially has an elite ability to pass the ball deep. Ironically, Caleb Williams does not have that. He's still dialing in his deep ball, his go route stuff. He's looking better. Mechanically, I think it's clear that Caleb Williams is the better pocket passer. I think he's more operational in the pocket. I think he's pretty crafty on his feet, but I think that I don't mean to be this guy, but Jaden Daniels is number one at throwing to his first 2 reads of all quarterbacks across this is not me arguing for which one is better. It's not.
Right.
This is not a loser leaves towns match. I'm just pointing out some mechanics for you guys to sort of chew on. Jaden Daniels throws his first 2 reads 94% of the time. Caleb Williams is third to last on that list, second to last, behind only Josh Allen. Caleb Williams goes through all 5 of his reads on almost every play from week 3 onwards. It's fucking awesome to watch. It's absolutely my favorite thing to watch about Caleb Williams. That's not to say Jaden Daniels is like gonna get figured out. There's other QBs in that top 10 that are still good QBs that throw to their first 2 reads. That's just like maybe how their offense is set up, et cetera, et cetera. If you're a safety, I know which one you'd rather play against.
Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, exactly. And like look at the success that he's had. I think Lamar probably maxes out on like 3 or 4 reads, although I think he's looked a lot better at throwing the ball this year. It's sort of undeniable. I don't know if one guy is great. I don't know if neither guy is great. I don't know if both guys are great. I just know that the mechanics for both teams' fan bases should be happy. I haven't seen any major red flags from either of them. The reads thing doesn't necessarily mean anything if that's not the style of quarterback you're going to have in Washington. You got a rookie QB, and he's basically made you the best team in that division. So more power to you. I'm really excited to play them. I think we're going to win. I think the Bears are going to win.
No.
I think our defense is better than their defense. What? You don't think I'm realistic about this shit? You don't think I've been beat down enough that I've been like at least a realist as we come in here? I'm not pulling the Caleb Williams Express in yet. I want to.
Yes, you are, and you should. You should be. That's what you should be doing. You suffered long enough, dude. That your lens of objectivity when it comes to anyone the Bears play this year is probably out, as it should be, because it looks like you have the guy. Looks like you have the offense.
I do agree that it looks like we have the guy. Yes, I think we have our quarterback. Yes.
This week is,
but so too do the Commanders.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's one of the rare occasions in NFL history where the 1-2 look like they're actually gonna be both stars.
The 3 doesn't look
rare.
bad.
3 looks pretty good too. 3 does look pretty good too. The Bears better win this week because do you know that their strength of schedule for the rest of the season is by far the hardest? It's not even close. It's not even close for the rest of the season. So they better win this week.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, I did tell you guys that they had a tough schedule.
It's tough
at the back end, but also the NFC North might be the best division to ever play a season of football, and we got to play all those fuckers twice. So I find it insane. Like the one scenario that I never would have been able to think of.
You still play your entire division
and the 4th
twice.
Yeah, we haven't played anybody yet. We haven't played anybody yet in the division, but. Right. The Bears being 4-2 and the 4th best team in the division is bananas. That's how we lost the bye week. The fucking the fucking Texans had to just cough up that game against the Packers. And yeah, I agree. The Packers are pretty legit. I think that Jordan Love throws too many picks, but I think that for a second-year guy or second-year starter and a pretty young team, they're looking pretty fucking good, which is annoying. I am happy that I think we have the guy. I might become insufferable if we really beat the Commanders bad. If Caleb Williams goes out there and balls out and we're able to, and Jaden Daniels plays and we're able to really like fuck him up, I think if that scenario plays out, I'll probably be pretty pumped coming into next week. I agree the backslide is crazy, but we gotta get like 4 wins out of that. Those last few games, it's pretty doable. If we beat the Commanders, we're a 5-2 team. I think we can then win 4 more games and get into the playoffs in the NFC alongside all the other teams in our division.
So you think that in the division where 4-2 has you in 4th place, all you need to do is win 5 more games this season?
Well, we can't. And what I'm saying is you can't go for divisional placing right now, being in that division. If you're the Bears, you have to go and try to just eke in as a wild card team.
I mean, you have one more guaranteed dub on your schedule, and it happens.
We play the Pats. We play the Pats.
Yeah. Yep.
Not a guarantee. The Bears will always find a way to fuck things up. In my experience, we'll see. The big problem I have coming in against the Commanders is that Gordon and Brisker are heavy hitting nickel corner and our free safety are hurt, so they're a big part of why our secondary is good. It's going to be really tough to try to play man to man in that case against pretty good receivers in Washington and like really tough deep balls that we have not faced if Daniels plays, which I hope he does. On the flip side, I don't think they're going to be able to stop DeAndre Swift if he plays the way he's been playing the last 3 weeks. If we make play calls the way that we've been making play calls the last 3 weeks and we don't do the if it's broke, then fix it offensive coordinator approach, Waldron, if you're listening, then yeah, I think we might be okay. The biggest thing I saw from Caleb Williams the last time he played a game was deciding to get weapons involved and then succeeding at that. I think that that's a sort of a green flag to watch for in your young QB, where he says before the game, like, I got to get Keenan involved. And then he throws 2 beautiful touchdown passes to Keenan Allen. On first watch, I thought the best pass was the kind of rainbow flick into the back corner, back shoulder to Keenan Allen. But in fact, now that having watched 700 or so angles of the other Keenan Allen touchdown in that game in London, it's actually the vertical one. He's got an elite, like, straight down the barrel throw that he can put it on a postage stamp, and they look like they should get intercepted, and they don't. It's really nice. I've never seen it in a Chicago Bears uniform. So I was actually watching 06 highlights recently, and man, Rex Grossman was bad. And then I was watching 2012 highlights, and Jay Cutler was not
pretty good.
He was not that good.
He was pretty good.
He was not that good.
In 2010, he was really good.
He was a better Denver Bronco than he was Chicago Bear, I think.
No, you don't believe that.
I'm Smoking Jay, dude. Come on, Smoking Jay.
Smoking Jay, fucking getting drunk in Tennessee and trying to pay people off to let him out of a fucking DUI. Fuck that guy. He quit in the NFC Championship game. I know there's this subset of fucking Bears fans that like have this sort of revisionist history about Jay Cutler because of the Smoking Jay meme. Like a lot of it is. And I defended him to the death, dude. I said wildly hyperbolic things about him when he was the Bears quarterback, and I was a younger man, and I was comparing him to Tom Brady by sort of grandfathering in the fact that he had a bigger arm because Brady hadn't done all the things he had done yet. And I have to live with that. I mean, people say shit, but whatever. I got to live with that. It's fine. I'm done. Me and Jay Cutler are done. We got divorced years ago. We never have any kids. It was a clean break. I got Caleb now, and we're in a nice, happy family. Don't get married to young kids. The Packers... Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Mike. The Packers are great. You're fine. They've arrived. They're really good. Sure. What do you got to say about them?
Listen, they capitalized. Yeah,
I
mean, dude, they just capitalized on a ton of mistakes that the Texans made for sure. But at least
CJ Stroud looked like shit, which is pretty rare. I feel like.
Yeah, but again, like I said, there are teams in this league that don't win that game, and the good ones do, and they're one of the good ones.
That's so annoying. Just tell them to leave me alone.
They've been like they just won't go away. Even last year, last year was supposed to be their down year, and they still even had the uprise. So I don't know.
They've had 3 quarterbacks in your lifetime, and they're all going to be great.
I don't know if Jordan. I don't know.
I don't know if
Yeah, I
Jordan's
don't know if Jordan
great.
Love is great, but
And you just said on this show that Aaron Rodgers wasn't great. He was only good.
Right.
And Brett Favre is the
But
interception leader.
everyone else says that they're great. It doesn't matter what I say. It matters what
I mean,
what
look,
the narrative says.
between me, you, and a fence post, like, I've had to suffer in my lifetime, and I'm not young. I've had to suffer through watching the Packers win 2. I don't give a shit. Like, we're good. Like, it's fine. Brett Favre got 1. Aaron Rodgers got 1. And then I saw a motherfucker rattle off 7. So, like, I don't know. The standards have shifted. You know what I mean? The sands have shifted out there. So, it's not really that bad. I mean, have they fucked us up? Yeah. I mean, I barely even remember the last time we beat them, which is fucking depressing. But we got to go beat them. This year.
all 4 NFC North teams have been in the power rankings. I just realized that. I think that's the first time that's ever happened in a power ranking.
I think it's true of like everybody's power rankings right now. I looked at a lot of them, and the Bears made a lot of power rankings. I mean, the bye week, they did lose the bye week somehow. You know something? Russell Wilson looked pretty good. He looked pretty good.
Like
First quarter, I was like, we were right. Yeah. He did.
It really did. It looked like the Steelers were missing for 2 fucking years.
Oh my God, it's so true. It opened up the whole team. The whole team just like opened up like a flower when he was doing his thing.
It was funny.
Go ahead.
Just remember, Andy Dalton had an Andy Dalton game this year too, and the Panthers beat the Raiders.
Sure, but that was like no game tape. Everyone knew Russell Wilson was starting from like Wednesday onwards. So the Jets, who supposedly have a good defense, sort of decided to go out there. Yeah, he had a couple of like rusty looking throws, but it looked like he was ready. Like he looked a lot more ready than he did when he got to Denver. He looked like he actually like knew the playbook. He looked like he was running. To me, Justin Fields looked like he was participating really well at a high level in Arthur Smith's offense. Russell Wilson looked like he was running Arthur Smith's offense out there. And I think, to me, it all sort of fell into place. I know that we were saying a lot of shit last week. Like, why would you do that? Justin Fields is playing good. Like, if he comes in and because, like, it was kind of a ballsy call, to be honest. Like, if he goes out there and shits the bed, the Steelers' season is skewing wildly in the wrong direction. And now it's skewing wildly in the right direction, right? Like, that was kind of a big game. I'm a make or break primetime game for them. And it could be like the kind of the sliding doors moment of the season if Russ keeps up that level of play, even like to a certain degree. But it made the defense look better because they didn't have to be on the field as much. It seemed to me like, I think Arthur Smith was like, I designed this offense to run with the guy I thought we were going to like start. So can we just start him? Which we should have kind of thought about, right? Like last week, we were kind of being reactionary about like Justin Fields' performance up until this point and like all this different stuff. But I mean, Arthur Smith was probably like, can you give me the guy that like that you went out and got for me to run my offense? Like, just have him do. I know he's older, but I wrote the plays. Like, it's going to be fine. So it opened up the run game hugely. They're getting running backs back from injury. Jalen Warren looked good, if not like improving week to week as he gets more reps. They got Cordell Patterson to come back. He's always crafty. Pickens looked a little bit better. Calvin Austin looked good.
Not a little better. He looked exceptional.
Way better.
Yeah, he was elite.
I mean, I think that he has that in him always. To me, it was just I've never seen somebody U-turn their season the way that he has been able to, because the shit that was coming out of his mouth, it was a real Chase Claypool situation to me. As that was going on, I was like, he's playing badly and he's talking shit. Like, so I've just never seen anybody make a U-turn like that. But he was also the one who leaked the fucking news that Russ was starting. He was like, I've been working out with him because he's going to get his first start this week. And it's like, dude, you're not the one to, what the fuck? So I was like, that's not good. It's just, it had the hallmarks of a wide receiver who's just like going down the drain. And he just has this big resurgent game. But I think we knew he was capable of this, right? Like, we all think he's a wide receiver 1, right?
Yeah, he is.
They're missing a slot guy. They're missing like a really elite slot guy, I think, for that kind of offense. But if they can run the ball the way they're running the ball, they got the tight ends involved really well. Russ just ran the offense really good, man. Like, undeniable. Work some Justin Fields plays in there, though. You know, let's see him make a couple of cool plays, because he could just be an offensive weapon for you now.
Line
him up as a running back. Let's see.
Do the Cordell Stewart offense.
Yeah,
He's your Taysom Hill now.
Taysom Hill, yeah. Do the red zone offense with him. Throw some extra looks. We'll see how it goes. Commanders, we sort of already talked about. The Bills just are married to the number 6 position on the power rankings. They're just so fucking lukewarm that they just don't move, and they're stalwart. It's that one pawn you move out a little too early, and he just stays there and doesn't get taken for the entire game. It just limits the board. They fucked up the Titans, but I don't know how much that says.
It literally means
nothing.
Let's reconnoiter and promise that we'll do a better, longer Bills section when they play the Seahawks, because it's just going to tell us so much more than beating up on the very crossed off for the last 4 weeks Titans. Because they're just bad.
That was cool.
Yeah,
Amari Cooper did look good. Keon Coleman looked fucking sick,
good.
dude. Because Keon Coleman gave Amari the route at that one point. Did you see that, where he was like, he was like XY, and then he was like, okay, yeah, and then he caught the TD. Keon Coleman, I like. Another guy I feel like I've spent my entire fantasy football season in our league just failing at waivers. So, and I feel like whenever I fail at a waiver, I just watch the guy do good from a distance every single time. So I've been doing that with Keon Coleman all year, which is really annoying. But he looks really good. I think Josh Allen looks really good at times. He's also looked pretty bad this season, though. So we got to have the fact of the matter is the only evidence of them playing a really good team.
In that game.
Is he? Was he definitely? Was that
it's
confirmed?
Not confirmed, but he was concussed.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
the rash of shit the NFL would be in.
Yeah, that'd be a lot. I mean, I don't know. Tua comes out. He's like, "No, I'm not wearing a Guardian cap. It's a personal choice." I'm like, "It shouldn't be. They should make you." What the fuck?
I was wondering if he was gonna wear one.
Do you not think Roger Goodell should be if you want him to play, he needs to wear one? You don't think that that's not something you can do? Is that in the rules?
I guess not. Yeah,
it's not in the
apparently
rules.
Not.
That seems crazy to me. If I'm Goodell, I'm like, dude, we're watching that guy die on live TV every single week.
I just don't want to have to sit through Roger Goodell actually telling me that he cares about player safety and health. So don't even waste my fucking time. The guy doesn't want to wear a crash helmet. Don't make him. He's going to die on the field, though.
I bet if you asked Roger Goodell about this situation, he'd be like, "Oh, why did Tua get hurt?" While he's fucking signing Coca-Cola sponsorship checks and fucking grabbing asses. So yeah, whatever. Roger Goodell doesn't give a fuck about Tua. It reminds me of watching guys sort of debilitate over time in wrestling. That's literally what it reminds me of. It's that kind of debilitating injury where, it's the reason why if someone says "Oh, the WWE is fake," it's it's really not, man. Because it might be performed, but look at the fucking lives of these guys after they retire. They all donated their bodies to this sport or sport entertainment or whatever you want to say. And watching Tua, it's depressing me. Like that used to. Seeing guys get punchy and seeing guys get just, dude, it's bad. Yeah. I don't know how Sidney Crosby figured it out, but can we get him that advice? Right? I mean, I know it's a different sport, but the way Sidney Crosby used to always get concussions, then he stopped getting concussions. How did he do it? Anyone know?
You stopped going to the boards.
Yeah, but there's got to be a way, right? There's got to be a way to augment.
Yeah, Tua,
slide.
That's all you should do.
Yeah,
if you scramble and you don't slide,
but every time he takes it to the head, he forgets how to slide. This is the problem. This is what's falling out of his head. Yeah. Oh my god, brain first.
It's like Blitz the League. Remember that game that came out where
I loved that game so much.
You get a concussion.
Blitz the League was the best video game ever made. It literally.
Yeah. It was unbelievable because you could cheat, and it was part of the game.
There's a storyline mode too. It was movie mode. It was sick.
Yeah,
you cared about as much as your players as the real NFL cares about their players in real life. And I kind of want to go find that, see if it's on the marketplace somewhere. Yeah, I mean, all right. Brief talk about the Dolphins. I guess I should probably add them to the cross-offs, for next week if they keep fucking losing. I mean, should we see what happens with Tua? Yeah, we should see what happens with him, I guess. Bobby's hoping because he's got Tyreek Hill fucking putting up goose eggs every week for him.
He's killing me.
Yeah.
My
I think that's yourself. CeeDee Lamb was right there. CeeDee Lamb was right there. You didn't back your guy.
Not shit either.
Been a hell of a lot better than Tyreek Hill. And also he's way better in the second half last year. Yeah.
Can you just word for word, don't actually add the word that you meant to put here. Just read next to number 4 on the power rankings. out loud for the class, please.
Solid Monday Night Football win against the Bucks. Rolling. Browns next. I meant to write Ravens.
Okay, good.
Sorry.
It's like, who the fuck is that? But yeah, obviously it's Derrick Henry. He's unstoppable.
I had to. Why isn't my fucking thing working? All right,
If
everyone.
Lamar's not MVP, I think
It's
1A, 1B.
I think it might be Derrick Henry. There's a lot of game left. There's a lot of game left.
He's unfucking believable.
He's been pretty good.
I'm telling you,
he has 410 more rushing yards.
It might be Saquon.
God, no, it's not.
No, it's Derrick Henry.
You don't think so?
Derrick Henry has 843 rushing yards this year. He has 410 more rushing yards.
Yeah, but if you look at the usage numbers, they're like trying not to use Derrick Henry as much. Like he's super high upside. No, like don't get me wrong, he's super high upside, but he went from 30 touches to 20 touches from the Titans to the Ravens.
Still
I know that he's I understand completely. What I'm saying is that's still less time to work as the season goes on. If anyone gets wear and tear, it's running backs. I'm just saying Saquon's still in the conversation. Moving on. The Texans, okay, they really annoyed me. They really annoyed me about against the Packers. Like it was very, very annoying.
You were hostile.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I was being hostile. I apologize. I was just couldn't believe that the idea was to, when they got the first down, right? It was a borderline broken play. CJ Stroud throw to Tank Dell. 3rd and 10. It was a pretty impressive catch. They get the first down, right? To get to 3rd and 10, they had ran 2 bad Joe Mixon left slants. And then on 1st down and 2nd down, when all they had to do was get a first down really to win the game. The scoring situation sucks. I understand why they went for 2 and they only had 19. I get why they went for 2. It would have been better if they had gone it, obviously. Whatever. It is what it is. You can go up by 1 by kicking a field goal. Fine. They run the ball -2 yards. They run the ball -1 yard. And then they throw the ball to the sideline, which was an incomplete pass and stopped the clock. But even if it was a complete pass, it wasn't enough for a first down, and it would have stopped the clock because he would have stepped out of bounds. So you didn't make them burn all their timeouts, right?
Yeah.
You stopped the clock for them with tons of time left, and you gave them the ball back in a situation where they only had to get to field goal range. I mean, it's terrible situational football. You got to do one or the other. You got to either, if you're really back in your defense, which context of that game, I would have tried to score the touchdown. I really would have. I would have given it all. If you really back your defense, run it 3 times. Run the ball 3 times. Don't run the ball in the same play the same way 3 times. That would be helpful. Just throw one weird play in there, like a QB designed run or, like a weird counter or a fullback run or a draw on 3rd down would have been cool. It was just bad situational football. And it was one of those situations where it's like, oh, they're definitely going to march down the field and kick this field goal and score now. And it's at the end of the day, you might say, oh, well, like, the smart thing to do or this advanced analytics, if you have the game in your hand, which they did, and you give it away, which they did, it's your fucking fault. And you got to own up to that. You're the reason that you lost that game. Okay. They got to learn from that. I was mad at them for that. Am I extra mad because it was the Packers? Of course. Clearly. And then, Mike, that's not your fault. Okay. That's not your fault. I was fucking hot when we started talking. And I'm not at you, though. You're great. You're aces. It's those fuckers.
Hey, look, right? Mike. Tony Romo agrees with you, so you must be right. It's like, fuck you.
I was being a dick. Yeah, I was definitely still being a dick at that point. I'm sorry. It's okay. I throw my hands up.
Listen, they're still a young. I'm not proud of my behavior. They're a young team, though. I mean, this is a team that got off to a hot start last year, way sooner than anyone thought. They're prone to making these mistakes. Like they just didn't do it last year, so it's gonna happen. I would still say, like, I'm still just as high on the Texans as I was before that week. Like, we've all seen bad coaching performances.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like that damning. I want them to learn from that, because if they're at the level that I think that they are, and I think you guys think so too, considering, where they are in the power rankings, where they've been every week, every season. If you're going to try and beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, you're making decisions like that. That's how you should be conducting yourself now. I know it's Jordan Love. I know he's not Patrick Mahomes, but he's pretty good. And I really think that's how they should be thinking about it. I think that's how they should be thinking about it. I think they should be saying to themselves, would we give Patrick Mahomes the ball back right now? No. So let's try and score. No.
Although
like
the Bills did do that.
Right.
AFC title
That's
game.
the thing, though. That's the thing. If you want to play at that level, if you want to eat at that table, you can't do dumb shit like that. You know what I mean? Like whether it's Jordan Love in a regular season game or it's Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, you're still going home. And you're lucky you live to fight another week, but we need to talk about that. And the coach needs to mea culpa on that one, I think. But yeah, I still think he's a good coach. I'm still high on the Texans. I do agree. I'm just a little mad at them right now. We're just in a fight. But yeah, we'll be okay next week. Ooh, okay, the Ravens. They have that thing that the Chiefs had when they had Tyreek, where they can get 20 yards sort of whenever they want. Their blocking is immaculate. Derrick Henry is eating. He is eating. He can't help himself. It's so fun to watch. Lamar looks like he's barely trying. They keep putting Hurtons on teams in prime time. It's super fun to watch. Derrick Henry's great. They've got weapons. Zay's good. Justice Hill's good. Bateman's good. Isaiah Likely's good. Andrews is back. Andrews is catching two tutties in the end zone, just like looking all fucking crazy on the sidelines. It absolutely is offensive porn. The fact that they can do that thing where they're just like, it's cool, we'll just get the 20 yards. It's fine.
On the ground.
30
on the
30,
ground.
20?
Yeah, on the ground.
Sure. Whatever. Yeah,
Lamar running it.
on the ground. I think they're starting to feel like the only team that can take down Mahomes. And I know that we had this narrative emerge last year, but I still think it might be true. What do you think, Mike? I know you still down.
I do think
wait till the postseason because Lamar. But dude, they don't need to rely on Lamar anymore.
They're the only team in recent memory that I've ever seen that if you were like, it's 3rd and 10, I'm going to run the ball, you still couldn't stop them.
Yeah.
So like that's a pretty wild fucking superpower. I think it's one of the most dynamic offenses I think I've ever seen. Lamar looks great.
Sustainable?
What?
Is it sustainable?
Yeah, regular season, of course. He might win his 3rd MVP.
Is it sustainable? Sustainable?
No. Windows get tighter in the postseason. It always happens. Defenses get better, and what happens with again? We can talk about that.
Pretty damn good defense.
January and February, but they just But Derrick Henry, I mean, if there's one team that knows how to stop Derrick Henry in the playoff game, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. They did it. I mean, they did it in Tennessee all the time.
All right, let's play the game real quick because it's going to go the same way. I'm just realizing now. Ravens 4, Vikings 3, Lions 2, Chiefs 1. That would be the Chiefs versus the Ravens in the AFC Championship game. We're all picking the Chiefs, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. And the Lions just beat the Vikings. So is anyone picking the Vikings?
Chiefs Lions again.
Who wins?
I think the Lions. I think the Lions stand a good chance in that game, though.
Starting to get excited about the Lions, huh? Starting to get excited.
I saw a lot of people putting the Lions.
They look
over
pretty
the Chiefs.
meaty out there.
I see a lot of people putting the Lions over the Chiefs. A lot of people backing Jared Goff for MVP. That's how good he's playing right now.
I disagree with that, but
a lot of people
are they still the best offense?
It's out there.
I don't know. Would you pick the Lions over the Ravens?
I think so.
Offense? I think so.
Offensively?
I don't think that they're as dynamic. I don't think that they're as like explosive play high upside as the Ravens, even though they are explosive play high upside. But I think to your point about the Ravens, windows getting tighter postseason, they kind of play like a team I've seen have success in the postseason. I don't know if I've seen an offense like the Ravens.
What
this Ravens offenses exist in different iterations over the last couple of years. Yeah, I mean that'll be fun.
Ravens.
It'll be a fun postseason. If ever, we're praying for everybody to stay healthy. A lot of weird injuries. One last thing before we go, real fast. Do you think the Lions will trade for Max Crosby? And if they don't, is that Super Bowl kind of a foregone conclusion? Because that injury to their defensive line is pretty much the biggest injury anyone's had all year.
They still beat the Vikings without him. So I feel like it'll be
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know how
That
much
plays
that
into
means.
DK's theory that Sam Darnold and the Vikings suck. But if you can
Yeah.
replace Aiden Hutchinson with Max Crosby in the exact same season,
That'd be something.
that's fucking wild. That'd be wild. Then if you
I
And
can
then
think
Max
it's
imagine
slightly
when
better
Hutchinson comes
even.
back eventually. They have him.
because they said if the Lions make
Bowl.
it to the Super Bowl, he'll be there.
Yeah. That's an interesting sort of press release. It's very Lionsy. It's very Dan Campbell-y. You know? It's
Gotta have heart.
putting out, he puts everything on the bulletin board, that guy, huh? He's just trying to do his best, Coach Taylor. Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been the Power Rankings for Week 8. Next week will be Week 9, and we'll know a lot. More than we know now, but less than we knew last week. For myself, Money Mike, Real BK, DK, ladies and gentlemen, adieu.
Everyone has heard about the U.S. space program, but what is actually going on at NASA? Get the real story in 4 minutes or less with the NASA Daily podcast from Electricast. Join astronauts and researchers as they conduct groundbreaking experiments, work on the International Space Station, and reach for the stars. NASA Daily, your cosmic update.
Electricast.
Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Peter.
We're the founders of Electricast Media, bringing you great podcasts like Nightmare Road Stories, Tech Talk Revolution, and Bodacious Minds.
Electricast networks include Ruby for female empowerment, the Best Business Network, and GPN for geopolitics. We built this company to create community and amplify diverse voices, and we really appreciate your support.
So, keep listening to Electricast podcasts and hear the culture.
Electricast.